Hello, my friends. I thought I'd make you a little video to walk you through the nervous system. First of all, don't be nervous. It's just a system of nerves that's in our body without which we could not function at all. And in fact, a lot of my students, when I say nervous system, they're like, oh, is this about anxiety? No, the nervous system has to do with any type of information that gets transmitted in your body, like the fact that I'm using my hands to talk to you. My nervous system is what's communicating with my brain that's working with my mouth and with my hands. I'm one of those people. But if you play basketball and you decide to, shoot for the hoop, that's your nervous system. If you are chilling with some friends and you're thinking to yourself, man, this is a pretty good life, that's your nervous system kind of relaying what's going on with you. So we're going to talk about this system today. Sorry, get the next one up. So here, first of all, we're going to play a little game between the central nervous system, the CNS, and the peripheral nervous system called Spot the Differences. So if you take a look here, you'll notice this is the CNS. You've got the brain right here. You've got the spinal cord. Move myself up here again. And then over here we have the PNS, the peripheral nervous system. Notice any differences there? Well, as you are all very smart psychology superheroes and scholars, I know that the first thing you notice is the CNS only contains two parts, the brain and the spinal cord, which makes sense because that goes right down the middle of our body, right? But the PNS, the peripheral nervous system, has all of the nerves that travel from our spine to our extremities. So like I said, when I'm picking up my hand, when I'm using my mouse to click, that information has to go through the PNS from my brain to my spine. That's the central nervous system. And then from my spine out to my hand, that's the PNS, the peripheral nervous system. So let's dive a little more into the peripheral nervous system because I'm pretty sure you've got the CNS down, right? All right, so got this lovely picture here of Dunluce Castle in County Antrim, Ireland. And I just want you to raise your hand if you would like to travel to Ireland. I'm sorry, that's supposed to say quick. Raise your hand if you would like to travel to Ireland. So I know I would like to go one day. And if you raised your hand, or if you were like shaking your head because you're like, no, I don't want to go there, pat yourself on the back because you just used your SNS. And what is your SNS? Well, your SNS is the somatic nervous system, and this is a part of your peripheral nervous system, so we're breaking it down further. And it transmits voluntary movements as well as sensory and motor information. So, for example, it transmits the movement if I want to scratch my head, that's my SNS. My somatic nervous system. But sometimes maybe you jump because someone scares you. That's kind of an involuntary movement, but that can also be translated through the somatic nervous system. So it's getting all that sensory and motor information from the central nervous system. And there's two types of neurons in the somatic nervous system. One is the sensory neurons that carry information from the nerves to the central nervous system. So basically, if I touch this tissue and I notice that it's soft, that's my information coming from my fingers, the nerves, to my central nervous system. If I am have information that's coming from my brain and spinal cords that needs to go to my muscle fibers, like quick, adjust your glasses, that is also part of the somatic nervous system. All right, sorry, my picture's got a little left on here, but now the autonomic nervous system is the other part of the peripheral nervous system, and this is super, super important. We don't breathe, have our hearts beating, have blood flowing, have digestion. None of that happens without the autonomic nervous system. So we need to take a moment here and just give a little round of applause to that autonomic nervous system because it's our involuntary body functions. And I want to break this one down a little further into two parts. Have you ever been walking down a hall or walking down the street and something scares you and you jump? Maybe like my daughters are really big right now into running up to each other into the dark hallway and going, boo! And the other one will jump and ah ha ha, that's so funny. So the sympathetic system, that's your fight, flight, or freeze response. Now, we probably heard of fight or flight. But they're actually finding there's a third response that the sympathetic system can generate, which is your freeze. Have you ever been in a situation and something's going on and you're like, I don't know what to do? And you're still. That's your freeze system. Okay, your sympathetic system regulates all of these things. So fight, flight, or freeze. And you can see poor Mickey here with his jump scare. When a stimulus upsets or excites you, it engages your sympathetic system. So for example, let's say that somebody says to you, hey, we're going to go to Disney World for vacation. Well, you might get really excited by that and you're like, oh, I can't believe it. That's also your sympathetic system. When we say fight, we don't really mean like punching people. When we say fight, what we mean is that you're ready to meet the challenge. So if someone says to you, hey, let's go to Disney World, and you're like, yes, I want to go to Disney World. That's you're rising to that challenge. That's your fight response. I know we think fight, we think punching, but really, truly, it just has to do with getting ready for it. Now, if you're going to get all worked up, you got to have a way to bring it back down, right? That's your parasympathetic system. This helps maintain normal body functions and it conserves our physical resources. So we can refer to it as our rest or digest system. So when you've gotten all worked up, you might need to bring it down here like Goofy is in his hammock. And this is where your parasympathetic system is kicking in. So calming down from a jump scare, or if you've eaten. It could be a big meal, it could be a small meal, that doesn't matter. If you're eating, you know how you kind of feel tired a little bit after you eat? It's really because your parasympathetic system is diverting resources away from other parts and say, okay, we got to focus on this digestion, so let's conserve some energy. Let's just relax. All right, my friends, that is the entire thing I wanted to show you on the nervous system. So make sure you go back and answer your review questions. And if you need anything or you have any questions, just let me know.